In today's episode, I'm going to be taking you to one of my favorite cities in the United States to go thrifting in.
Welcome to the Palm Springs Vintage Market.
Most people might not think Palm Springs is a great place to thrift, but in today's episode, I'm going to show you that it absolutely is.
It's our good luck sign.
It's a city filled with mid-century modern architecture, incredible food, bargain thrift stores, and incredibly curated antique stores. There's something for everyone in this city. So in today's episode, I'm going to show you my favorite spots. I'm here on a weekend girls trip with some of my friends who are also in the vintage reselling business. Emily with Dumpy Vintage, Taylor with Portland Revibe, Andy with All Put Together, and Heather with Restated PDX. We might have just landed at the airport, but we are wasting no time here in Palm Springs. And before we go get checked into our Airbnb, we are going to stop at a few of our favorite antique stores. Our first stop today is Ida's. This vintage store might have a small footprint, but it is packed with treasures. And these are some of my favorite types of stores because there's a very eclectic mix. You can find designer mid-century modern here, but you can also find collectible things from all around the world. I love these kind of honey holes because you kind of have to look for the really good deals. I'm a huge believer that no matter how high-end the store is, you can always find a good deal. You just gotta put in the effort and you gotta know what to look for. I was considering picking up this beautiful hammered copper light switch plate, but unfortunately the spot where I want to use this needs a double switch.
Look at this trio of elephants. Those are so beautiful. See how much these copper lights are. These are amazing. And there's a pair. Let's see a price. I might have to ask.
I tested out both the copper lights and they both work, and I'm getting the pair for $140. It might be a big splurge, but wait till you see what I just found around the corner. That's gonna make it worth it. I found this stunning brutalist 1960s Norma Flanagan necklace, and it is only $40. Recently, a very similar one sold online for $650. So now I don't feel bad at all for paying $140 for the really cute copper lights, because we are off to a very good start in the first 20 minutes of picking in Palm Springs. Now we are headed across the street just a few steps away to Sunny Dunes. This one's a little bit larger with lots of vendors and still has a wide variety of items and that eclectic style that I love to shop. The first thing I spotted was this beautiful vintage blue fringe jacket. Now, if you followed me for a long time, you know that I love fringe, and I never thought I needed a blue fringe coat in my life, but now I do, and I'm very glad that I just found this.
Plastic? What in the Catherine Holm is that?
Now it's time to start the thrifting adventure. We are now in Yucca Valley, California. This is just a short drive from Palm Springs and one of the best areas to thrift. One of the things that I always look for when I travel is art. Good art can hold a lot of value, and it can easily be taken out of the frame. If it's paper, you can roll it up and put it in an art tube. And if it's on canvas, I typically stack them up flat. And on previous trips, I have fit over 30 pieces of art in one half of a full-size luggage. So just because it might look large in a frame, if you're limited on space, don't overlook the potential of art.
Block from India. Look at this art. It's a stained glass piece, signed 1969 Reams. And I think that's an actual stained glass artist. So this is maybe a print. And then look at this tiki top. Amazing. It's actually vintage too. And this one is $9.99. Emily, would this fit you? I feel like you would rock that dress.
Oh my god, that is 100%.
You should try it. Isn't that amazing?
It's vintage too, right?
Yeah, looking at the tag.
Yeah, it is.
Just need to get it.
Just get it either way.
I always check the jewelry counter before I check out, and I found these beautiful Native American sterling silver button covers, and they are only $5.99. That is a bargain. This set should be worth at least $100, if not more.
Okay, I'll definitely get those. And then there's one more item down here.
Okay.
It was, where'd it go? Oh, it's this guy right there. He's interesting.
This here?
Yeah, what's he?
Did you want these or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna get those.
Oh, you are? Okay, I'll leave these up here.
Hilarious. Okay, not my style.
Okay, I know. Isn't it funny though? I cracked me up when I saw it.
just
I'm
curious.
Like, oh my goodness.
Next up is this and that, and typically this one is closed, so we're very excited it's open today. It's our good luck sign, Taylor. It's our good luck sign. So I just ended up getting this case. I thought it was interesting. It's handmade, and based on the size, I kind of think it was maybe for rolled up cigarettes. I'm not sure, but I thought that was kind of unique, different. I feel like Heather might like this. It's in the original box, and it's $6.99. That might even be on sale because it has a little line through it. The lighter in the very bottom, right here in the front.
Oh, very cool. Thank you.
And the purple slash means it's half off.
Half off.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yes, it's half. I mean, it's pretty cute. Very atomic.
Okay, I'm still gonna pass. Thank you so
No
much,
worries.
though.
I didn't end up splurging on the lighter, even though I did love it, but I did find a bunch of amazing vintage jewelry. And stay tuned till the end of the video where I'm going to show you up close and personal all of the vintage jewelry that I purchased from this entire trip. Our next stop is Unity Home Thrift Store, and I spent almost the entire time in this store at the jewelry counter, and I will show you at the end of the video why.
Got a bag of jewelry. Can't wait to show you what I got.
Pioneer Crossing Antiques is a great store. It's pretty large. It has a lot of vendors. I love this store because there are cases of vintage jewelry, and a lot of the vendors have very primitive and southwestern decor, but you can also find some really great mid-century modern. I spotted these two modernist candlesticks in this glass case, and I'm very excited to take them out and take a look.
62 for the pair.
Yes.
Perfect. I'll take both of them. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm getting the candlesticks along with this beautiful hand-beaded butterfly hair barrette.
Oh, that is spectacular.
And at the last second, I spotted this copper and brass brutalist belt buckle. We're gonna get this too. We have a dinner reservation for this evening, so we have been powering through as many of these thrift stores and antique stores in the Yucca Valley. We've got 2 more really quick stops to make today. We didn't even take time today to stop for lunch. We actually ate our sandwiches out of the back of the car. Overall, I think everyone is super happy with their finds from today. If you come to Palm Springs, make sure you set aside a day to visit Yucca Valley. It's well worth the quick drive. Our first stop today is Revival's thrift store. Now, this is one of my favorite thrift stores in Palm Springs proper. We have family that lives in Southern California, so whenever we visit, we come to Palm Springs, and this is one of the first stops we make. We have found some amazing things at the Revival stores over the years. It can be hit and miss, so you never know what your luck is going to be. And that is part of what is so fun about thrifting. It's a true treasure hunt.
Is it a birdhouse though? I'm trying to figure out what it is. I think it's a birdhouse. It's pretty interesting. It is $20. Let's see if there's a signature on it. I don't know how I feel about a brutalist birdhouse.
I found a stash of vintage prints, and I really like this one by a French painter. It's titled Two Nudes, and even though it's just a print, it's only $2, and these can be worth anywhere from $15 to $40, depending on how desirable the specific artist or art piece is. Prints like this are great to take to flea markets so that people can stop in your space and flip through them. Whenever you sell at a flea market, you really want things that draw people in and give them a pile of things to look through. Because clearly it worked here at the thrift store for me. This lady is interesting. I think this is an ink drawing and it is original. It's numbered and dated at the bottom. It's $15, but I'm not liking the person with the mask that's doing her hair. I don't know what's going on over there. Palm Springs has always been a place that musicians love to come. Even Frank Sinatra lived here. I have no idea if these hold any value, but it sure is interesting to see things with handwritten notes from the 1920s. And this is why I always make sure to stop at the jewelry cabinet before I leave. I love this Aztec Mexican sterling money clip. It's $30, but all the jewelry in this case is on sale. If you are looking to be inspired, there is one place you have to go here in Palm Springs, and that is Market Market. It is a huge store packed with vintage, and they also have a lot of really beautiful boutique clothing, handbags, sunglasses, and they even have a little section with local foods.
Oh my god, it looks like the Lisa Larson cat, but it's carved wood. $40, but it got me real excited. Real excited.
I was very tempted by this beautiful Italian Bitosi box. I actually don't have any of the boxes, and that's kind of on my bucket list to find. Unfortunately, this one was priced at full retail, but someday I'm gonna thrift one of these.
This is now going on to my wish list. It's Napier, and it is a cocktail jigger. It's silver plated, $125. I actually looked these up on eBay, and that's actually about retail price. So now I'm gonna keep an eye out, and hopefully someday I will come across one of these at the thrift.
We need to have a slow-mo moment for this incredible Iron Brutalist coffee table. I have never seen something quite like this. I'm so glad we stopped in and I scored this beautiful carved wooden cat. Our next stop is the Estate Sale Company warehouse. Now, this is not just a single building. They have multiple buildings on site, and each one of them is packed with furniture, art, and smalls. In this first building, I fell in love with this vintage bird art. It says it's by George Wilmot. It's $400, so I can't buy it, unfortunately. But this is now going to my wish list. And this is a great example of how you learn about new artists. Sometimes you just gotta get out there and see new things. Now we're crossing the parking lot to one of the other large buildings. This is my favorite of all the buildings because there is a section of the store that is dedicated completely to vintage jewelry, which is kind of honestly my thing.
This is of gold, and it opens from the front, and it's super cute.
My goodness, this is unbelievable. I have to try it on.
And although I could not splurge on this 28,000 solid gold ram clamper necklace, I did get the sterling lion ring. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later in the episode. We are finally hitting our very first Goodwill in Palm Springs. And yes, the Goodwills in this area are not the same as our wonderful Goodwills back home. But I'm a huge believer that treasures can be found anywhere, even if you think there's not going to be something to find. And this Goodwill did not have anything in the home decor area, but I did find some fantastic pricing on sterling jewelry.
I got all 3 of these sets of sterling earrings for 50% off because yellow is the half off color of the day. Pulled them out, flipped them over, and all 3 of them are yellow tags. So they were only $7.50 each.
Now we are stopping at the Second Revivals location in Palm Springs.
Especially these, they look like a stained glass window.
They're running about
Frank Lloyd Wright collection. Yeah, those are really neat.
They're costume, but aren't they fun?
I love it. I think they're all great. I like the kinetic looking one too.
Heather got a whole stack of really cool earrings, and I found some great deals on sterling jewelry. Again, stay tuned till the end for the full jewelry haul. Now we are going to go visit one of the most unique places here to antique shop in Palm Springs.
Oh, I'm in Potosi heaven already. Look at these beauties. $120.
It is called Victoria's Attic Antique Mall. And what's crazy about it is they literally have taken over the entire shopping mall. This place is such a fun experience because it is packed with treasures, and the pricing can actually be really good with plenty of margins for resell, just depending on the items you find and the vendor. It is not just one section of the mall, they've actually expanded into multiple areas. So it's a really fun shopping experience. But be careful because you can get lost in this place.
This is one of my absolute favorite Roseville patterns. Looks like it's from 1916 to 1931. And it has that very Egyptian revival with the palms. Oh, amazing.
And I could get lost in these jewelry cases for days.
These are quite possibly the most beautiful earrings I've ever seen. Look how long they are. Oh my goodness. They're $650. This is interesting. It's got feet on it. It's $95. Huh, interesting. I like it. Cantilever. Yes, please. They're only $60 for the pair. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Unfortunately, I took these off the wall and they looked to be a newer production, so I decided to pass on them. I carried this piece of pottery around the store with me for at least 20 minutes contemplating buying it. The value is there. It's only $38. It's raku fired, and pieces by this artist Sergio are worth well over $100. But I have limited space in my suitcase, and so I'm trying to be very particular. I was so excited when I walked up to this glass case and saw this giant David Salk pottery. I collect David Salk pottery, but I only have 2 of them. They're that hard to find. And I already splurged on a sterling silver lion ring for myself today, so I'm not going to get this, but I am sure having a moment appreciating it. So this is the reason that I ended up passing up on the raku pottery. This is titled Studio Pottery Vase, $28. And I recognize the pattern and the signature, and I'm pretty sure that it's a valuable potter. I'm pretty sure that it is a high-end potter from the 1970s. I just don't remember the name, and I can't quite make out the signature.
And there's a double. That's a first. This place is unbelievable. So all of that is a whole store. And then it also goes all the way through the mall. All of this is all Victoria's Attic. All antiques, all the way down to there. Just unbelievable. This place is amazing. Welcome to the Palm Springs Vintage Market. This is the event that we came to Palm Springs for, the Palm Springs Vintage Market. This market is held throughout the year. They take a few months off during the summer months when it gets really hot here in Palm Springs. But other than that, it is a monthly flea market, and they have vendors come from all across the country, bringing some of the best mid-century modern you can find anywhere. We're talking top-tier vendors. However, there are always bargains to be found at any flea market. And so today, we're on a mission to go find those deals. Holy crickets, look at these sculptures. Two incredible wall sculptures. This one's signed C. Jer 1986. That's amazing. This is such an incredible market. Look at this. First purchase of the day, this beautiful wooden vase. It's $20. Love the shape on it. Okay, we gotta stop the screen for just a split second because if you see what I see, you're gonna be very sad for me right now. Before I even noticed the penguin ice bucket, I saw the striped Batosi bowl sitting right in front of it. And I made the terrible mistake to pull out my phone and film my penguin ice bucket clip. And you can actually see in the reflection what's about to happen. A woman walks up just after I filmed this clip, picks up the Batosi, looks at me and says, "Well, you were just filming it, not buying it." And she was 100% right, and it was within her means to pick that Batosi up in front of me. And then I had to watch her turn to the vendor, ask how much it was, and pay $35 for it. My heart broke a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I was defeated for the next few minutes, but I recovered, and I learned a big lesson. Pick up the Batosi first, and then film the penguin ice bucket. I will never make that mistake again.
In the 60s, there's a Italy,
in the day.
which was like a fortune.
Yeah, that would have been, what, $1,000 back then?
Oh yeah, easily. It's an amazing piece. Yeah.
This is who I got the owl vase from, Tom. I like this one. This pot's beautiful. I love it. Rudy, 65. Does that say Rudy Leroy? Beautiful.
Educated the person and said, this is what it is, and I've never heard of this. Biba Schultz. Biba Schultz. Biba Schutz. Biba Schutz. This is not Biba Schutz, but he had Biba Schutz in his thing and he didn't know. And this lady's like, yeah, they're $100.
Look at this vase. Heather got this for $24. This is incredible. This is my favorite find so far. Good job, Heather. Oh, that's cute. Are they copper or metal?
Ceramic.
Oh, those are neat.
It was $20 for this.
And you got the big dollar horse.
Yeah, I got that $1 for my collection. He's beautiful.
Fabulous. How much did you get that for?
90, which is great
For one that size.
Yeah, I talked him down. I love that box too.
These boxes are like
the old Chinese like poisoning.
Don Shoemaker. I've had a Don Shoemaker before. Okay, Andy just found the most castle core thing I've ever seen. Carved wood, Spanish bookends with an actual castle on them.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Like, I almost need them.
You do.
I'm gonna get this beautiful plate for $20. Thank you so much. This is so your style.
Oh, that's so fun.
With the flowers. That's beautiful.
Watch.
No way it's a zipper. No way.
That is insane.
That's hilarious.
So I can make it long. That is so cute.
I just pitter patter. I'm so excited. Look at these horses. They're incredible and it's only $50. This is absolutely amazing. And Andy's thinking about getting this amazing piece of art. It's huge and it's $350.
Please be true. In other words, I love you.
Palm Springs isn't just a great place for thrifting and vintage shopping. It's also an amazing place for good food. So I'm going to share my favorite spots that we visited so you can add them to your Palm Springs itinerary too. The first one is the best brunch spot in town, in my opinion, and it is called Farm, and everything here is fresh farm-to-table food. Next up is Workshop Kitchen and Bar. Now this one is a bit of a splurge. It's a higher-end restaurant. It's a perfect place for a date night. They have an outdoor seating area. It's in a cool old building that's been restored with lots of concrete. And somehow with all of the concrete, it still has a very cozy vibe. They have incredible cocktails and the food is delicious.
Pistachio on pistachio on pistachio.
If you're in Palm Springs and you want to kind of escape the hustle and bustle of the city for a bit, Morton Botanical Gardens is a very chill spot to check out. It's a cozy, family-run garden that has been around since 1938, and it is home to over 3,000 desert plants from all over the world. You'll find everything from towering cacti to colorful succulents, all grouped together by their native regions. One of the coolest parts is the greenhouse, which is packed with rare and unusual desert plants. It's a beautiful spot to take photos or just to come and appreciate how diverse the desert life can be. It has a $7 admission for adults, and they have a little nursery where you can pick up a plant to take home. It's a peaceful, low-key spot that gives you a real taste of the desert vibe. I decided not to take the tour so that I could just have some calm, quiet time to myself and take photos. And I'm so glad that I did, because sometimes when you are quiet, that is when nature comes out the most. I saw this teeny tiny little baby hummingbird sitting on a log, and I cannot believe it, but I was able to capture a photo of the mom coming and feeding it. And then I also spotted this cute little critter. It's not that large of a space, so it's somewhere that you can come and spend an hour and then continue on your day thrifting. Sadly, our girls' trip is coming to an end, but we could not leave Palm Springs without visiting one of the best antique stores in town, Antique Galleries. It's a massive store filled with hundreds of vendors. And again, just like many of the places here in Palm Springs, there's a very eclectic style. There's going to be a ton of mid-century modern, but a lot of the vendors also are really into Southwestern. So you can find incredible pottery and jewelry.
It would look good in your collection of blues.
I love it. It's not even enough for a cup of tea, is it?
I don't know what you will put in it.
I don't, maybe it's just decoration. It's $75. What are you? Jonathan Adler. Mitchell's Wick. They're resin and acrylic. Those are cool. 3 of 24. Those are fantastic.
I already have all of my finds packed in my luggage and I don't have much room, so I'm going to be very selective today. I'm already going to be carrying my giant owl pottery vase as a carry-on onto the plane, but I at least wanted to check this place out and take the opportunity to learn about new designers.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So I think I'm gonna $2.95. Brutalist bronze wall art. Look at this fantastic vintage coat. $2.50 is actually not insane for that, for how unbelievable that is.
If you are wanting to shop top tier mid-century modern, make sure you add antique galleries to your agenda here in Palm Springs. Okay, you might be wondering where you need to stay if you come and visit Palm Springs. And that is a very easy answer for me because I have a favorite hotel to recommend to you. I have stayed at the Villa Royale 2 times now and I love this place and I will keep coming back and staying here. They have multiple swimming pools spread throughout the property. The rooms are huge and decorated with mid-century modern style. Each morning you can have your breakfast by the pool. And they have a fantastic restaurant called Del Rey on site. In fact, we had a wonderful happy hour with Mindy and Pamela from the Palm Springs Vintage Market. They have a rooftop where you have the most stunning views of the mountain. This is where I like to go have a cocktail at night and watch the sunset. This is not sponsored. I just really love this place and I really look forward to coming back to Palm Springs with Jesse on a trip here soon. Heather from Restated PDX, Andy from All Put Together, Taylor from Portland Revive, and Emily from Dumpy Vintage, we all got together for this girls trip. We all have very different style, but then we also have some things that overlap and none of us are competitive about the vintage or what we're finding. And so it's really fun to shop together because we get to see the things that we're interested in, but you also get to learn and see what the others are into. When the 5 of us get together, it is chaotic, it is fun, it is healing for the soul. Friendships can bring so much joy into your life, and I'm just super grateful for these girls. So thank you ladies for an amazing weekend in Palm Springs, and I already can't wait for the next one. I mean, seriously? This thing is massive. It's amazing. This is going to be probably one of the hardest pieces for me to let go. I love it so much. I feel like I at least need to wear it on my upcoming group trips and then maybe I'll let it go. It is signed by the artist Norma Flanagan on the back. It's valued at well over $500. I think the other ones had previously sold for around $650. And personally, I think that the design on this one is even better than the other comps I saw online. I wore went to dinner that first night. I just had to. I got some things back here that I really, really love, but this, as you can tell, this takes the cake. This was the winner, and it was in the first 20 minutes of thrifting, and I only paid $40 for this at Ida's. Oh my gosh, such an incredible deal. I didn't just find the necklace at Ida's. I also found 2 of these hammered coppered lamps. They are in working condition. I tested them both before I bought them. I've never seen them before, not even close. I haven't even seen any hammered coppered lights like this at all. I love them so much. I think that these are adorable. They're gonna be so cute for styling on bookshelves, where as you can see, sometimes you need a smaller lamp to fit. When you're decorating a bookshelf, you don't want it to be too dark. You wanna make sure that you can have a light on and show off some of those beautiful little trinkets and treasures you have on your bookshelf. And small lamps are the perfect way to do that.
We don't have a lot of natural light over here, especially in this corner where we have our bookshelf. So having little lights like this is perfect. You can see up here on the top shelf where the Lisa Larson cat is and the Potosi bowl that they are so shadowed. That shelf is a little bit too short to put a lamp in, but it really lights up these other shelves. I really love having these small kinds of lamps. I think that these copper lamps look perfect here. I think I'm gonna have to keep them. Much cheaper than putting in skylights.
I know I can't see you, but raise your hand if you've ever had this happen. You've done research and you know a signature, and then you see it again, I don't know, a year later, and you can't remember the research that you had done. Raise your hand if you've had that happen. I do it all the time, and I hope that you know that I don't know it all, not even close. When I find an item that I've done research on, for some reason, the way that my brain works, I am so much better at remembering a texture or a pattern or just some kind of a signature style, and I recognize that before I recognize the signatures, always. I don't know why. I had the hardest time remembering names. So when I saw this pottery, I recognized the pattern on it and the texture, and I immediately knew when I picked it up that it was good. So it wasn't until I got back to the Airbnb and I started doing a little bit more digging online that I realized that this is a Wish and Harrell.
So this beautiful piece of pottery is signed Wishin Harrell, and it's actually not one artist. So Jim Wishin was the potter, and he threw these on the wheel, and then Jerry Harrell decorated them. And so it was actually a duo. So keep an eye out for this signature, Wishin Harrell, because these can sell for hundreds online. Some of the larger pieces are even worth $1,000.
This was my very first buy at the Palm Springs Vintage Market. I love the simple, modernist, minimalist shape, and then it has one little hole here for a single stem flower. I think it's beautiful, classic, and timeless. I found this pair of candlesticks at an antique store in Yucca Valley, and these were in a case that had a ton of things that I was not interested in, and they kind of just disappeared because they're simple, they're gray, they kind of just blended in and got lost in all of the glass and the more colorful items. But one thing that I always look for when I'm scanning shelves quickly are the shapes of items. And that is how these caught my attention. I immediately saw this unique shape, and then my brain went, oh, that's good, what's that? I can see that. Sometimes it's overstimulating going through a large antique mall, especially when everything is all mixed together. So I was very excited that I did spot these because I easily could have passed them. I paid $62 for the set of 2. They are signed Lance Cloutier, and I think that was a really good deal. These are worth around $150. I like them because they kind of look like giraffes. I don't know. I just love abstract modernist anything. I was so excited when I found this cat. It reminds me so much of the Lisa Larson cat, but it was not, and it wasn't even inspired by her. I think maybe Lisa Larson got inspired by this folk art cat. It is made by Tarahumara indigenous people from the Sierra Madre mountain range in Mexico. It's so fascinating to learn the history of some of these things. This just looks like a carved wood cat. Next thing I know, 5 minutes later, I'm in that store going down a Google wormhole. It's just so exciting. It's part of why I love this job. It's why I love this industry. There's so much to learn, and we're never gonna learn it all, but I just truly enjoy seeing these new things and learning these new things. I love this cat so much. It's going in her home, obviously. It's gonna look great on the bookshelf with our Lisa Larson cat. I wish Jessie had been there to tell me more about this fish platter. I actually think this might be the first fish platter I've ever bought before. The colors are amazing, the design on it is amazing, and what's really funny about this is that Heather had already asked for the price on this earlier in the day, and this is a great example of why you need to do at least 2 loops through every single flea market, because she was quoted about triple the price that I ended up paying for this. And the reason could be as simple as we were getting towards the end of the day and the vendor didn't want to pack this up. So I'll give you my inside tip of how I do a flea market. So tip number 1, always buy early bird, because by the time the general admission happens, the best stuff has already been picked up by pickers. What's funny is that this is sounding so competitive, and I just got done saying earlier that I'm not a competitive shopper. So I'm not a competitive shopper, but I do consider myself a strategist, and that is why I'm recommending these tips. Tip number 2, go the opposite direction of everybody else. Most often flea markets, whether they're indoor or outdoor, are set up on kind of a grid system. And there's usually kind of a path forward that people naturally gravitate towards. So tip number 2 is go to the back of the market and work your way forward. Number 3, do a quick swoop. Sometimes the vendors won't have everything out yet, and that's okay because you're gonna go back. Once you work your way all the way to the front, that is when I do what I call the deep dive. So tip number 4, take your time on the deep dive. Now you're going to work your way from the front of the market all the way to the back. Most people will have everything out on the tables that they're gonna pull out. Some people do restock throughout the day, but the majority of vendors will now have everything out. Take your time going through the space and always follow your intuition. If something is really catching your eye and you've got a good gut feeling about it and the price is within your budget, go for it. And tip number 5 is that while you're doing your deep dive, talk to the vendors. This is a really huge opportunity for you to learn about the items in the space. A lot of antique dealers love to talk about their finds, and they're very proud to share the history on the item, where they got it, how much it's from, how old it is. There's just so much you can learn, and you have it right there at your fingertips. One of my favorite things that I found on this trip is the Amelia Palumba Sardinia Artist Pottery Owl. When I spotted this owl, I was like, that's coming home with me. Now I just gotta figure out how broke am I gonna go and how am I gonna get that in my luggage. Well, I didn't end up having to go too broke because unfortunately, the vendor had actually chipped it that morning when he was unpacking things. And that really did take away quite a bit of the value. It's a pretty massive chip. It's gonna take a little bit of repair work to fix it, but I'm up for the challenge because I'm keeping it for myself. If I was looking to resell it, I would definitely have it professionally restored. You know what I ended up doing? I just put it in a tote bag and carried it right on the plane. I wrapped it up in some of my clothes, kept it on my lap, and I carried that owl like a baby all the way back to Portland.
At the moment, the owl vase is living on our living room floor. These are all items that currently don't really have a home, so I just kind of stuck them here on the floor. I'm a huge fan of having art sitting on the floor, especially since we don't have a lot of wall space because we have so many windows. I'm pretty sure that this is going to end up in our basement. We have 2 very tall mid-century modern wall units, and the height on the bookshelves is actually pretty large between the very bottom one and the top one, so I think that this would work there. Here's where the chip is. As you can see, it's very large. It has a teeny tiny crack that goes down to about here, so it's still pretty structurally sound, but it definitely has a very noticeable chip. Where I'm thinking of putting it on the bookshelf, I don't think you're gonna see it because you're gonna be kind of looking up at it just a little bit. And I can always change my mind later and try to restore it myself or have it professionally restored. Now, what I wanna know is, would you display it like an owl or would you turn it and have it like this? Let me know in the comments below.
Whenever I'm traveling by air, I always look for primarily jewelry. That is the main thing I'm looking for because it's so much easier to pack with you. I found some incredible deals in Palm Springs, so let's go take a look at those.
This is all of the jewelry that I picked up in Palm Springs. I got quite the spread, and we're gonna start out with this beauty by Norma Flanagan. This was made in the 1970s, and it has a brutalist style, which is one of my favorite styles to wear. I just think it's so edgy and different, and I've always actually been drawn to brutalist style, whether it's in fashion, sculptures, or architecture. I picked this up at Ida's for only $40, and it is worth at least $650, a very similar comp to this one sold recently on Etsy for $650. So I think that's a pretty fair estimate of what the retail value is. I'm actually going to take this on my upcoming group trip and wear it a few times before I let this go. So if you are in love with this as much as I am, you can expect to see it come to my first Friday sale, probably midsummer. So I'm thinking the July sale. I picked up this at one of the antique stores. It's a beautiful Zuni Native American made cross. It has black onyx stones, turquoise, coral, mother of pearl, and it's all expertly inlaid. As you can see, based on the size of my hand, it's pretty massive. It's artist signed, stamped sterling. It's kind of nice when it's the hook like this because you can easily take it on and off of another necklace. Such a beautiful one. I believe that I paid around, I want to say $60 or $80 for it, but I think that this is easily worth $200. It's an incredible, incredible piece. When I'm picking up jewelry, I always make sure that I have at least 50% margins because you want a decent return on your investment, and it takes a lot of time to clean these up, photograph them, edit the photos, do the research, and ship the items off to their new homes. So you really want to make sure that it's worth your while. I didn't pay $78 for this. I bundled this with quite a few items. Let me pull out the items that I got from the same vendor. So there was a wonderful gentleman at the Palm Springs Vintage Market, and he did a bundle deal for me. I think I got this one there too. I'm not 100% positive on that one. So I know that my transaction through PayPal was $300. So I'm pretty sure that this was what I ended up purchasing from him. So I think it broke down to maybe like $30 for some of the rings. I think I paid up a little bit more for this one. It's a pretty special designer one. These two are also artist signed, and so I'm going to do a little bit more research on those. But $300 for all of this is a really great deal. This pendant alone, once added to a necklace, would be worth about $125. You've got maybe $180 to $200 depending on the artist on this one, $150 to $200 depending on the artist. So it adds up really quickly. When you're looking in a space where you think you might purchase multiple items, I always recommend waiting until the very end to get your final pricing. Usually I will ask what the price is on 2 or 3 pieces just to get an idea of their pricing, and then you can go ahead and start a pile. Then they know you're a serious buyer and they're more likely to give you a discount the more you buy. What's funny is I didn't find any vintage home decor at the Goodwill that we went to, but I did get sets of sterling earrings, and they were half price. So these black onyx sterling earrings were only $7.50. This pair was also only $7.50, and these were $7.50. Clip-on earrings, nice sterling silver. I was pretty excited to find these at Goodwill because I actually don't find sterling jewelry at our Goodwills anymore. They currently pull all of the sterling jewelry and they put it in their online auction. This was a very exciting find. So I found this at the thrift store that I went into. I think I showed it very, very quickly on screen, and I had a brown paper bag. Well, I only ended up purchasing a few items from them, but I got really good deals, and I ended up picking up this. It's actually a single pendant, and it goes like
this. The chain just needs to be reconnected. And I paid $20 for this. I flipped it over and I saw that it was signed Joseph, and I was pretty sure that I knew this designer, but I couldn't actually remember off the top of my head. But I decided to go ahead and just spend the $20. We were kind of in a hurry, so I didn't really have a lot of time to do a lot of Googling and research while I was shopping. But as soon as we got into the car, I Googled the designer Joseph, and it came back as Joseph of Hollywood. I found a very similar necklace to this one listed for over $500. Some of the other necklaces by this designer that are a little bit more dramatic can sell for over $1,500. I picked this up at an antique store. It's a very funky 1970s brutalist copper and brass belt buckle, very similar to the style of Pal Capena's, Carl Tasha, and Jack Boyd. Those are some of the most prominent known artists. This one's not signed, unfortunately, but it's still a very cool belt buckle. And at that same antique store, I also picked up this beautiful beaded butterfly hair barrette. I just thought this was different from the things that I normally pick up. It's so beautiful with the beaded fringe. It would make a beautiful pendant necklace too. Anyways, this is going to be coming to the shop along with pretty much all of the rest of these goodies too. So if you're interested in purchasing any of the jewelry or any of the vintage items in today's episode or any of our episodes, we list our vintage finds the first Friday of every single month on our website, leftcoastrevivals.com. This was such a good last minute find at the thrift store. I especially love the Thunderbird one. These are sterling silver and they are very old. This set is worth over $100. Another one of my favorites was this Mexican sterling money clip. It's signed Tasco on the back. I love this Aztec mythological sea serpent dragon critter. He is so fun. I picked up all of these at one of the revivals and they weren't on sale, so I did pay the pricing that you're seeing here, but I still felt like there was 50% margins. I love the colors in this stone. I think that this is jasper. And then these are gonna go fast in my shop. You know why? Because I have a almost identical pair of Mexican sterling earrings that I've been wearing for over a decade. And so many of you have commented over the years asking if I'm gonna sell them. Here is an almost identical pair. They're gonna be coming to the next shop sale. And then I got these two beautiful hand-stamped flower design domed earrings. These were $45 and those are post earrings. And then these fun little twisted squiggly earrings, they were only $10. And then this beautiful pair of turquoise earrings. Now I did pay $45 for these, but those stones are beautiful. I'm pretty sure it's Sleeping Beauty turquoise, very beautiful, and they're signed by the artist on the back. And then the last pair that I picked up at revivals were these kind of silly little umbrellas. They actually move and they say Seattle on them. I just thought those were kind of adorable, and they were only $5, and these are sterling, so had to get them. This might look familiar because I recently picked up a belt by the exact same designer. This is by Joseph Boris, and these resell online for around $200 to $300. He's a well-known prominent mixed metal artist, and I just think these are so fun. They can be worn as a belt or a very dramatic necklace. And I ended up getting this at the Palm Springs Vintage Market for $20. Some solid sterling pieces. I picked up these earrings at a variety of places. And then this beautiful half moon pendant is a Robert Lee Morris. I love this. It's modernist, simple, yet still kind of a statement. Here is a picture of the lion ring that I got here in Palm Springs. It is one of my favorite pieces I've ever come across in my life. It is massive. It is actually really heavy sterling, but just light enough that I can wear it. This is a forever keeper. Unfortunately, I still have not found out who the maker on this is. So if you happen to know, please comment below and I will update you in an upcoming video as soon as I find out who made this ring. Between this and the Norma Flanagan necklace, I scored in Palm Springs. I think that's it. We've covered pretty much everything. So this is a really good haul because we were only shopping for 3 days and a lot of this was from thrift stores, which is just incredible. We really don't find much sterling silver at our thrift stores in the Pacific Northwest. I almost forgot the little donkey. Isn't this adorable little burro? It was $3.99. It's not sterling, it's costume, but I thought he was so cute. Obviously, you already know my favorite out of this entire batch, but I would love to hear, what is your favorite piece that I picked up in Palm Springs? Palm Springs is actually one of my favorite places to go thrifting, believe it or not. Now, I know so many of you are gonna say, oh, it's so expensive in Palm Springs. Every vintage store knows what they have and the pricing is so high. But finding the necklace at Ida's in the first 20 minutes technically paid for my trip there. I booked my flight with points that I already had. That's basically free money from using the credit cards that I use. The 5 of us girls split an Airbnb, so that helped bring the cost down. And the one necklace, the one find, was worth over $500 profit. That pretty much covered most of my baseline cost for this trip. Obviously, as a full-time vintage reseller, that is my primary income. And so I'm looking for items that are undervalued or underpriced, where I can bring them to my curated online store, fix them, clean them up, do whatever I need, and then resell them. And so my margins on these trips have to be a little bit higher than when I'm thrifting locally. It's no problem to pick up a $5 vase when I'm thrifting 5 minutes down the road and then sell that for $25. But when you're traveling, the costs can kind of add up. So this was really exciting to have my very first find at the very first stop already pretty much cover that baseline cost of this trip. Mindy King is the owner of the Palm Springs Vintage Market, and she is also the owner of the Rose City Vintage Market, who I partnered with for the Left Coast Flea Market a few years ago. And that is how we originally first met. And so we've just gotten to know each other really well over the last few years, and it's so fun to see how these markets are so different. The Rose City Vintage Market is more of an outdoor flea market mixed with an indoor antique market, which fits the vibe of Portland perfectly. But then the Palm Springs Vintage Market is pure modernism goodness. I'm not kidding. This is not sponsored. She is my friend, but I'm not paid anything to say any of this or to have come to the event. It's one of the best flea markets in the country, and you don't have to just take my word for it. They were recently featured in Vogue magazine, so a huge congratulations to Mindy and also everybody who works tirelessly at these markets, from the staff working behind the scenes to make it happen to all of the vendors who show up in the heat, whatever the weather is, and put on a great show. Make sure you are following them on Instagram to find out when they're going to be hosting their next markets. You can follow them at Palm Springs Vintage Market on Instagram. Jesse, everyone wants to know where you were this weekend. Why weren't you in Palm Springs?
Well, it was a girls' trip, so but while you were in Palm Springs, I went to PDX Estate Marketplace. I think they open at 8. I was there at 6 because I saw they had some really high-end stereo equipment that I was after. I had full intentions of filming it for you while you were gone, but like I pulled up at 6 and it's dark still, sun hasn't come up, and I'm like, I'm the first one here, and I was all excited because I really wanted this, and I knew it would be competitive. And then I start pulling up my phone because I'm like, Laura's gonna want me to film this for her. Pull up my phone, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna film this. And then another car comes in the parking lot.
No way.
And I'm like, I don't have time. I gotta get in line because I gotta beat that guy to get in line first. Within a minute, other cars are just coming in. First in line though.
I'm so proud of you.
I sacrificed the filming for my own selfish needs to be first in line and then be first in to get what I was after.
And did it pay off?
It did. I got exactly what I wanted.
Yay! Early bird gets the worm.
Right, so here's what I got. I got these 2 speakers. These are like $350 pair of speakers. Paid $160 for them.
Hey, that's like half price.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And they work great.
Yeah, they work great. We'll do a demo here.
Ooh, I'm excited.
And then I got this Sansui turntable. I already have a turntable, but you know, I guess I need another one too. This one's nicer than the one I had, so it's an upgrade. It's vintage, so it holds value, so I can sell my other one. Or I can just keep it and put it in a different room.
That's what I do all the time.
All right, and then I also got this Macintosh receiver. This will be kind of a backup because I have other Macintosh receiver that's in the shop right now. And then I also got this Macintosh AM/FM tuner. I don't have it hooked up right now, but this is to go with my other Macintosh pieces that I have, which is a preamp and a power amp. I was missing the AM/FM tuner for that, so this will match those pieces when I get them.
Did you find out we were filming and you want to say hi to everybody? No, he's out.
So if you're out in the wild, just so you know, any of this Macintosh, and this isn't Apple Macintosh, this This is Macintosh. Don't get
The
those
OG.
confused. This isn't like Apple Computers Macintosh. This is hi-fi stereo equipment. It's very valuable. This receiver alone here, I think I paid $600 for it.
Whoa. Sorry, I didn't know that. I mean, I'm sure I spent more in Palm Springs.
Worth double that, probably.
That's great.
It's worth about $1,000, maybe $1,200 when they're like in perfect order. This has one kind of like a burnt out LED or burnt out light bulb here that needs to get fixed. This I paid, I think, $500 for, and this is again about $1,000. Anything that says Macintosh while you're out, pick it up. Well, unless it's like $5,000. But if it's cheap,
If you're
get it.
thrifting.
Yes. This is where you want to see what it says Macintosh.
That's what you're looking for. Well, congratulations. I know this is something you've wanted for a long time, and I know you've been holding out for a really good deal.
Welcome to the Jazz Club.
We actually listen to a lot of music here at home. Pretty much as soon as we walk in the door, we've got music playing. So this is really exciting. Those speakers sound really good.
They are.
Sounds like you had a good weekend.
Yes.
Jesse and I are getting ready to head to Paris to host 30 of you on our next group trip. We are super excited, and we're going to be sharing a lot of behind the scenes, like while we are hosting the trip, on our Instagram account. We actually have 2 Instagram accounts for you to follow, our Left Coast Revivals account and also our newer one, Laura and Jesse. And then immediately after Paris, we have 26 travelers coming on our Italy trip. We're going to Rome and Florence. I cannot wait for that one. Italy is my favorite place, as many of you know. So it is going to be a really fun spring, and I can't wait to see you on Instagram. And don't worry, Jesse and I have been working really hard, so we have plenty of content filmed that's going to be coming out while we are gone hosting those trips. If you are wanting to buy any of the items you saw in today's episode or any episode, we launch our vintage the first Friday of every single month on our website, leftcoastrevivals.com. And if you are wanting to join us on one of our future group trips, we would love to have you. You can learn more about that on our website as well, and just click on that travel tab. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and hopefully I will see you on Instagram next week, and I will see you in a brand new adventure here very soon.